everybody, welcome back to Vlogmas. Today's book is The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Jenkins Reid. This book is 400 pages in romance and contemporary. I absolutely adored this book. I know some people say, oh well, not much happens. For me, it's enough to keep me hooked. So I'll read the blurb to you. It's a long one. It feels like a long one. Okay. Aging and reclusive Hollywood movie icon Evelyn Hugo is finally ready to tell the truth about her glamorous and scandalous life. But when she chooses unknown magazine reporter Monique Grant for the job, no one in the journalism community is more astounded than Monique herself. Why her? Why now? Monique is not exactly on top of the world. Her husband David has left her and her career has stagnated. Regardless of why Evelyn has chosen her to write her biography, Monique is determined to use this opportunity to jumpstart her career. Summoned to Evelyn's Upper East Side apartment, Monique listens as Evelyn unfurls her story, from making her way to Los Angeles in the 1950s to her decision to leave show business in the late 80s, and of course the 7 husbands along the way. As Evelyn's life unfolds, revealing a ruthless ambition, an unexpected friendship, and a great forbidden love, Monique begins to feel a very real connection to the actress. But as Evelyn's story catches up with the present, it becomes clear that her life intersects with Monique's own in tragic and irreversible ways. I think that whole talk of seeing like a golden age actress and reading about her career, I just found it completely fascinating. The whole concept just screamed, you must read this, to me. Obviously I've heard about this book quite a few times. I follow multiple booktubers who have talked about this book and I really enjoyed it, and to be honest, when it came back into the present and talked about Monique, I was just like, I don't care about Monique, take me back to Evelyn's story. So it's basically, you've got Monique's chapters where you find out about her life, her role in journalism, a relationship with her soon-to-be ex-husband, and it's intertwined with Evelyn telling her story starting in the 50s and working up her career through to the 80s and then later up into the present. It's basically told as Evelyn telling the story to Monique. So originally Monique is brought to Evelyn under completely false circumstances, basically. Evelyn is hosting a charity event where she is giving away some of her famous fashion and dresses. She's auctioning them off for charity, basically. And she, after years of not talking to the press and just living her life in like the Upper East Side of New York with her assistant, essentially by herself, she has finally agreed to do an interview in regards to the charity. And she basically goes to Monique's newspaper and says, I will only give an interview to Monique. I talk to Monique or the whole deal is off. And so Monique is sent to Evelyn's apartment, where then Evelyn says, actually, I do not want you to write an article for your magazine. I want you to write my biography. Monique is going, why me? And Evelyn says, I'll tell you my story and you'll understand why. There's obviously a connection there. There's some sort of overlap in their stories which you don't find out about. And the amount of guesses I had and how wrong I was when you do finally find out what the connection is and why Evelyn has chosen Monique to do this. I'll tell you, Evelyn, she's like likeable but not. There were points when I really hated her, but at the same time I also found the character very honest. She admits all the way through the book, through the telling of her story, that she wanted fame, she wanted an Oscar, she wanted the family. It explains why she kind of married so many times in a way, but a lot of those marriages were actually business related and were there to kind of hide who her true love was, which was forbidden for her. I'm not going to go too much into that because I don't want to spoil it, though I'm sure some people might be able to figure it out from the wording there, because one of the questions that Monique asks in the very beginning of the book is, of the 7 husbands you've had, who was the love of your life? And it wasn't any of her husbands. And seeing the relationships that Evelyn has with all of those men throughout the book, it just explains like her seek for fame and recognition and power, and then puts her into relationships where she has none of that. I think it's the first husband, no, it's the second husband, because the first one was a very young one, and then she was a young relationship which she decided to get rid of when she wanted to get famous, because everyone was saying no one's going to want to hire you if you're married and young, you know, we need to make you available and all this. So she gets rid of the first husband to marry somebody famous, only to find out that he is abusive. And so that is like the big kickstart, as just as she started to like be like this young promising actress in this relationship with another movie star. She is seeking the fame, but at the same time she's in a relationship with somebody who she thought she loved at one point, and who's always very apologetic whenever he does hit her. He essentially has like anger and alcohol problems, and you do see how that relationship changes towards the end of the book when she's older and she sees him again. But yeah, it really kind of goes into that kind of golden age of Hollywood and the lies and the manipulation there. It is fascinating, because the fact is these things still happen. You still hear about these things, you still read about these things, and the fact that there's still so many people in power in Hollywood who think that knowing that this young actor is married is just, or even gay, is just going to put off a whole load of people. And it's just like, I don't care. Audiences really don't, well, some audiences might care, but generally most audiences do not care about the personal lives of the actors they are watching. They just want to escape for a couple of hours and watch a movie. Yeah, there are some obsessive people out there, but at the end of the day, most people really, really don't care about that kind of stuff. But there are still people in Hollywood who think that people do care for some bizarre reason. It's just like, this isn't the 50s anymore. You know, we've grown. A lot of the time, people don't even want to see their actors talking about politics on social media, because they're just like, I don't want to know about that. I want to see you in a movie, and I want to be able to be taken out of the world for a couple of hours, or in a TV series. I don't need to know about my personal life.
Hi, Editing Debbie, just stepping in just to clarify some things from that rant, because I feel like I went off on one slightly. A very strong theme of the book is the fact that Evelyn has to hide a part of who she is in order not to alienate her audience and to be able to get ahead in her career. She's told by people around her that if she reveals a certain part of herself to her audience, she will never win an Oscar, her career is dead in the water. And these days, that thought is completely alien. I know that those kind of things happened in the past, but the fact that there are still people today who try to do that to performers. Rebel Wilson was almost outed by a magazine, and when the article came out, they said that they had contacted Rebel's people, and Rebel decided to leak the story herself. And it was just like, she's not leaking a story herself. She's not stealing anything from the reporter. She's claiming her own life back. So the idea of telling somebody, anybody, that they need to hide something about themselves in order to get ahead in a career and to not alienate people is just stupid to me. As a consumer of media and art, I have no right to the life of the people that I watch and listen to. And if somebody doesn't want to share that, that is absolutely fine. But I should have no right to demand to know about a celebrity's life. And this book is more current than you can think, with the fact that it was set in the 50s. You'd think the world would have moved on by now, but as evidence of what happened to Rebel Wilson and what happens to countless of celebrities who magazines try to out before they are ready, yeah, if you read the book, you'll understand completely where I am coming from.
Yeah, it's just that golden age story of like those classic Hollywood years and the manipulations and the things that people had to lie about in regards to like getting ahead in their careers. And yeah, I just thought it was absolutely fascinating. I really, really enjoyed it. I'm not going to say too much about the story just because I think it is one that you need to read to really understand Evelyn's story and the way it is interwoven with Monique's and what the ultimate connection is there and why Evelyn chose Monique. But yeah, I just really, really enjoyed it. It's The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Jenkins Reid. That is the front cover of the book. So thank you so much for watching today's Vlogmas video. Don't forget to subscribe if you're not already. There's a whole playlist of this lot where you can look at like other books that I've talked about, not just this Vlogmas, but in the past as well. But yeah, I'll see you tomorrow with another video. Bye!